There are basically two schools of thought.
Fact. Bears eat beets.
Oh.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Bears do not... What is going on? What are you doing?
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us again. Ben, this might sound nerdy, but today we're talking about our hauls.
Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah.
So number one, right over here, I have Sheriff of Babylon by Tom King, which is a deluxe, oversized hardcover, printed by Vertigo Comics.
I'm definitely interested in this. Like I said, I've read Tom King's Batman run, but I haven't gotten into this. And hearing about his history with the CIA, this is a very cool idea.
Yeah, I think it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's crazy that he wanted to write a story about his time in Afghanistan.
For sure, yeah.
But because he was, he couldn't write about it without, what's the word? Perjury?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He'd essentially go to jail if he wrote an autobiography. So
yeah.
he wrote about soldiers instead, which I think is crazy.
Have you read any of it? Any of the issues in it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
I read the first issue digitally a while back, but I don't remember any of it. I just know that it's with Mitch Gerads, and I know that they're killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Miracle. That's another one of my favorite.
Oh yeah, for sure. My friend's actually pulling that, and he says it's very interesting and different. He wasn't expecting that from it.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody was expecting the depths that King is taking Mr. Miracle to right now, but I love it. Yeah. It's been great so far. Mm-hmm. You want to show us what some of what you got now?
Yeah, let's just start at the top of the pile. I got this. My sister gave it to me, just like a little Rocket Raccoon Pop. I thought it was really cool. I put it on my shelf immediately. And then getting into books, I got this series right here, Fraction's Fantastic Four run. I've heard a ton of bad things about it, but I recently read his FF run, and I thought it was really great. So I thought I'd give this a chance, and it was $15. So I thought I'd give it a chance, and so that I'd have the complete series on my shelf. And I mean, I'm excited to get into it. I mean, I heard Volume 3 it dips a little bit, and that was the same thing with FF, because I don't think he writes the last couple of issues of both these series, but what he does write, I mean, I loved, and Matt Fraction is one of my favorite writers, so I'm really excited to get into it.
I know you had a custom bind of it. Is it two different runs, Fantastic Four and FF?
Yeah, they're two different runs, but to my understanding, they interweave. In the beginning of FF is the beginning of Fantastic Four. So the Fantastic Four go away, and they have this backup Fantastic Four to look after them when they're gone, and then they're gone for way longer than what they thought they were going to be gone for. So they have to keep on. Yeah, it's that one.
She-Hulk and them?
Yeah, Mike Allred's series, yeah. And Mike Allred's art is amazing in FF. I would definitely suggest picking up the first two trades. I don't think you need to pick up the third trade. I mean, it does finish the series, but it's just not the same writer.
It's all in the omnibus.
Yeah, it's all in the omnibus. I should have gotten that because it's $27 on eBay, but I just didn't think it'd be good, and I got the custom bind for $15. So, and that was the best part of the series. Yeah.
I actually ended up with 2 copies of FF by Fraction.
Really?
Because I bought my first copy on my own, and then the second copy I got in a lot with Hickman's FF. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, Hickman's FF. I'm reading Hickman's Avengers run right now because I've already read New Avengers, but I'm preparing for Infinity War. So I'm reading Infinity and his regular Avengers run. It's blowing me away. I'm going to have to go back to his Fantastic Four run because he's just an amazing writer, especially in the Marvel
universe. Have you read his Fantastic Four run?
I read the first 3 trades, and I loved it, but I don't know why. I took a break, and it's been a month, but I need to jump right back into it. This Avengers, I'm breezing past. I'm going to finish it soon. It's so good.
All right, spoilers for anybody listening. The third trade, is that the one that ends with Johnny sacrificing himself?
In FF?
In Fantastic Four, because I know I have 3 of his trades digitally, and I know that it's volumes 1 through 3. It's The Heroic Age by Hickman.
Mm-hmm.
I have the omnibus, but I haven't gone around to it yet.
Yeah.
I've only read the first 3 trades digitally, and I know that they ended with Johnny doing something heroic, sacrificing himself.
I don't think it was in the 3rd trade. I think it's going to be in the 6th trade because he's still on the cover of the 6th trade.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the switch is so Fantastic Four is volume 1 through 6, and then I think Johnny's gonna die because I've heard he dies, and then there's FF Volume 1 through 4, and Spider-Man seems to replace him in the Future Foundation. So I think that's how it plays
Okay.
out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the part of the run that I read. The future. Okay, that it's all piecing together now.
Yeah.
Alright.
I need to reread Volume 3 now, though. I'm not too certain what happened in that one. But Volume 1 and 2 are
Yeah,
really good for sure.
I want to do like a big Hickman universe reread. I have Secret Warriors, FF, and Avengers just lined up.
Yeah,
ready to get
I haven't read any Secret Warriors, but I really need to. Like, people say it's amazing, and Bendis is on there too. And I personally really like Bendis. People have problems with him, but I really like him. So
I think this is Bendis before he lost his game too. So
yeah, he definitely got overloaded. Like, they kept giving him series that I don't think he could personally handle. I think he needs to work on series that are more down to earth, which is why I'm surprised he went with Superman. Even though, I'm still interested enough. I think he's gonna bring a humanity to Superman that he needs. So I'm interested to see what happens.
yeah, I think I might start picking up Superman again once he takes over.
Yeah.
Because I am picking up Superman. No, Action Comics 1000.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, but we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. So what else did you get?
From one of the members of our Facebook group, the Omnibus Collectors group on Facebook, I actually picked up a set of 3 trades. I got Astonishing X-Men Volume 1 because
heck yeah, dude.
the Omnibus is way out of print,
Mm-hmm.
and I just can't seem to find it for a reasonable price. Thunderbolts by Warren Ellis.
Okay.
I don't know anything about it, but I love Warren Ellis. I love Planetary and pretty much anything else he touches. And I got Pulse, Jessica Jones Pulse, to go with my Alias Omnibus right here.
Awesome.
I'm waiting to read it, but once I do, I can just take it all.
Dude, one of our next reviews has to be that Astonishing X-Men. It blew me away, dude.
Yeah.
I love Astonishing X-Men.
Good.
Joss Whedon is amazing.
I just ordered the second trade.
Really?
So once it comes in, I can bang it out in like a week.
Yeah.
You can probably review it on here too. So
And I think Cassidy, that's him at his best game because I've read some Uncanny Avengers and I thought his artwork was good, but in Astonishing X-Men it was great, and just like the like different effects he uses, like it'll focus in on something and there'll be like blurs. Yeah, like that's great. That's great right there.
Right there. Look at friggin' Colossus right there.
Dude, Colossus is my favorite in this run. I love what they did with him. Because I don't know, spoilers, I don't know how he died, but apparently he died, and how they brought him back, I thought, like, it blew my mind, even though, like, I didn't know how he died and I wasn't connected to him before the series. But he shows up, and I just knew he was dead, and I was like, it was just so impactful. Joss Whedon did an amazing job of bringing him back.
I just love. I agree. I haven't read much by Whedon, but as far as Cassidy's art goes, like he's just the man. He can really, he can draw so well. It's mind blowing. So I guess we have something else to review.
Heck yeah,
So
dude!
cool.
I can't wait.
Show me what else you got.
Okay, awesome. I got this book, Death of Captain America. I have
that
been
$15
looking.
book.
No, yeah, I got this for $30.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
What?
Dude, I was losing it. I mean, this Death of Captain America by Ed Brubaker was one of the first books I ever read, and it blew my mind. And I've always been looking for this omnibus for a good price, just because of how much value it has to me. And I have a friend in the I'm part of this group called the Waffle Group. And
okay.
And I got this bad boy for $30, and I don't think I've ever been that excited before.
You see, I've never actually been fortunate enough to win a waffle, but good for you.
Yeah, I've entered 5 waffles, and it was that and Essex County slipcase are the 2 I won.
You lucky bastard.
Mm-hmm.
I just read his run in January, and I loved it.
Yeah,
I read up until Captain America Lives. I haven't read Return of the Winter Soldier yet, but it's coming along. But
yeah,
I
and
think
those
I'll
are
three on to
the
buy in like a week, so I had to give myself a break.
and these are the. I also got those 2, like the 2 last books. All I got to get is Lives now. I hear it drops off after Lives, so I'm kind of worried about that. But it's Brubaker. I can't imagine it being too bad. And there's some interesting artists in the last 2 omnibuses that I was surprised were in it.
I've heard the exact opposite. I've heard that after Lives is when it gets good. Like, it drops off after Death,
Yeah, really.
which I don't agree with. I thought Lives it held my attention. But I've heard from a couple different people that as soon as Return of the Winter Soldier comes in, that's when Brubaker hits more of a stride.
Oh, really? Well, then I'm super excited. I mean, I only heard that from like 2 people, so that gives me hope, I guess.
Hope for Brubaker. I've been really into Cosmic Marvel. I'm currently in the middle of the Annihilation Conquest omnibus.
Yeah.
So when I get to my Hickman readathon, I'm planning on reading the Thanos trilogy by Jim Starlin. This was only $11 at the store I work at.
Oh, awesome!
Newberry Comics. So the Infinity Relativity. 2 days ago, I ordered the first one, the last one, and Infinity Siblings for the new trilogy that's about to be in. So I don't know much about it at all.
I haven't read much Cosmic Marvel at all. Like, I have the Abnett and Lanning Guardians Omnibus, but I just never got around to it. And besides that, like, nothing. I don't have Infinity Gauntlet or anything. But now that Avengers is coming out, I'm so interested in it. Like, that needs to be one of the things that I pick up next month.
You're falling into the trap.
Yeah.
Infinity Gauntlet was one of the first trades I ever read. I read it on Marvel Unlimited.
Really?
I wasn't blown away, but it was interesting enough.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Does it feel dated because of how back in the past it is? Or, does it feel modern enough that you can kind of keep up with it?
I can't read anything Silver Age.
Yeah, same.
I'm not going to lie. I just lose interest like that. Infinity Gauntlet obviously isn't Silver Age. I don't know if it would be considered bronze or modern. That area is pretty gray for me, but I enjoyed it enough to keep up with it. It wasn't like extremely wordy, but it obviously didn't feel like a modern run either. So
yeah, I mean, and that's the problem I have for the most part, because I read Batman Nightfall and I loved it. Like, it didn't seem dated for me, but it didn't have a lot of, it wasn't super wordy, or at least I don't remember it being super wordy. That's the problem I have, is the older books have so much exposition that it doesn't feel natural.
Yeah. With that, yeah, I hate the text boxes that tell you what the character is thinking, because I feel like at that point I'm reading Harry Potter and they're telling me, oh, Harry is thinking this as he walks down this hallway.
Yeah. Yeah, that
what's
makes
the
sense.
picture for then?
I mean, and sometimes, in the more modern comics, thought bubbles can be interesting, but, like in Scott Snyder's Batman, there's some thought bubbles that are very interesting and that really get you into the mind of this character and stuff like that, but it can be overbearing. You're like, I see what he's doing. I don't really need to see all of this text.
Definitely. That's the one thing keeping me from starting Claremont X-Men.
Yeah.
I know that I need to do it. I'm holding out.
Yeah.
What else have you got?
This one's going to be crazy. I got the entire Invincible Iron Man run by Matt Fraction for $60.
Okay. That's not a bad price.
Yeah, it was, I think he was asking for like $100, and I just sent him a best offer because I read the first trade and I loved it, but it just, the second, third, and fourth trade, I think, were really hard to find, so I just stopped looking. And I mean, really hard to find for when I was starting out because I wasn't willing to spend that much. Nowadays, I bet I would spend it. And I just sent him a $60 best offer, and he accepted it like in 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, really? Okay.
This is on eBay?
Yeah, this was on eBay.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I like Matt Fraction a lot. That's another one I want to read.
I mean, his Iron Fist run was like... I hated Iron Fist before. I thought I only knew him from like the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon show that I would watch like occasionally when it was on, and I thought he was kind of like a hippie. But then I read Matt Fraction's run and it completely changed my mind, and now I love Iron Fist. He's one of my favorite characters.
See, I haven't read that yet, but I want to get the 2 Ultimate collections.
Yeah. But
I'm just pacing myself because I know that I can get everything all at once. But it's like the backlog is just going to grow and grow.
Yeah.
The most I've read by Fraction was his Hawkeye, which is great if you haven't read it yet. It made me like, I never thought I would care about a character like Hawkeye. And then his Sex Criminals, which is hilarious because him and Zdarsky are madmen.
To be honest with you, I'm going to be real. I liked the first 2 trades of his Hawkeye, but then after that I couldn't stand it. I thought I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I gave away the trades. I couldn't get into it anymore. I thought they made him.
How far?
Yeah.
They made him.
They made him a
They made
little
him what?
dumb. They made him a little dumbed down. I think. Like I was like.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you?
I
Not
had
feel that
never
way?
been. I was familiar with Hawkeye before that,
Mhm.
so
I mean,
I
I
guess
wasn't necessarily, but I guess I had a preconception of him, and I felt like in the first two trades he was like a little stupid, but like not a lot. And then the third trade, it was just like full stupid. Like I was like, okay, I couldn't get into it anymore.
how far into the story did you get?
I mean,
Like, do you
I'm
remember
not
what happened?
sure. So I had the first oversized hardcover, so I'm not 100% sure if it was the first two trades, but I think it was like halfway through the oversized hardcover I got through, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. And then I got to like a story that I didn't enjoy. I was like, okay, I'll keep reading, and I finished the oversized hardcover, volume 1, and I was like, yeah, I'm not interested in this story anymore. It lost me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And there's too many good books out there to force yourself to read something that's not good.
Yeah, makes sense.
I have no qualms about dropping something that I'm not interested in anymore.
Mhm.
Right. Next in my haul, I picked up Fear Agent,
Nice.
the library edition, volume 1.
Mhm.
Volume 2, again, from one of the really great people on our Omnibus Collectors group.
Mhm.
And I'm saying that it was a great deal because I got them for $100. And this guy even paid for expedited shipping, 2-day shipping.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
I wasn't
crazy.
expecting that.
Yeah.
I paid for it on Thursday. It was at my house on Saturday.
That's crazy.
So,
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I
of
was
them. Yeah.
super grateful.
Yeah. And I have only read a little bit of Rick Remender. I've always been curious about Fear Agent, but I haven't gotten into that. What did I read? I'm reading Uncanny Avengers right now, and I think he's really good, but besides that, I've read nothing.
So that's another book that's why I said I feel like life is too short to read a book that you're not interested in.
Yeah.
Because I started Uncanny Avengers, and halfway through it just kind of lost me. I felt like he was reaching a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I can come back to this maybe after reading Uncanny X-Force.
Mm-hmm.
So that's next on my list too.
Yeah, I mean, at first I thought that too. I thought he was reaching, but then it was interesting enough, and I was having fun. It seems more like a fun read than like an amazing read, and I thought, I don't know, it has this really intellectual feeling to it. Like with all, it's pretty. Like I don't know if it's really wordy, but like all the words it does have seems kind of poetic in a way, and it was interesting, so I kept reading.
It is very wordy.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that also pushed me away.
Yeah.
I'll give it a chance eventually again,
Mm.
just because I do want to have like a more comprehensive knowledge about the Marvel universe than I currently do.
Yeah.
When it's time, I get 'em.
Yeah.
What else you get?
This book, awesome book that I've wanted for a while, Wolverine by Mark Miller. I'm trying to get a complete Wolverine collection, and right now, this completes it. I'm going to have to get Wolverine in Hell, which I'm already planning on getting. I'm thinking about getting Weapon X, but, I'm not sure I'm too interested in that, so I might not. I might just count it as, like, not a Wolverine story. I mean, it is, but I don't know. It's kind of not at the same time. And yeah, I'm super excited to read it. I've already read Old Man Logan, but I haven't read Enemy of State, which I've always been really interested in, just the whole idea. People told me they really like it. I'm interested in the story.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Enemy of State too, but
Yeah, and
I'm
one of the
just-
things that worries me is Mark Miller's kind of hit or miss for me sometimes. I thought Civil War was just okay. I loved his Ultimates 1 and 2. I loved those. I thought it was such a good Avengers book, but he's not my favorite, so I'm excited to jump into it, but I'm a little worried.
I feel like with a character like Wolverine, with a writer like Millar that likes to be really extra with the action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
you can't really go wrong.
it's a very thin. No, I feel like you can go
Mhm.
wrong because I've read his Wanted
Yeah,
book, and Wanted was what you might think he would do with Wolverine, like over the top action,
Mhm.
over the top violence, swearing, and it was like I would never own that book physically. If I
yeah,
hadn't read it on my iPad, I probably would have never paid for it.
Mhm.
Like you said, he's very hit or miss. Most of his new stuff I'm not really interested in because I already have my
yeah.
preconceived notions about him.
Mm-hmm.
But that omnibus does look really nice.
Yeah,
So,
he kind of decreased as I feel like he progressed. I mean, I loved Red Sun. I thought that was really interesting. I read Red Sun and I really liked it, but yeah, I'm not too interested in anything he has now either.
I've heard the ending of Red Sun was actually more than anything Grant Morrison's idea.
Oh, was it?
That's what I've read in our Facebook group. I don't know how much truth there is to it, but because it's so out there and so sci-fi, I honestly wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, and I read a Grant Morrison book. Oh, Multiversity, that's right. I read Multiversity by Grant Morrison, and I liked it. I thought it was interesting, but I just kept putting it down. Like it just like it was interesting, but at the same time, I just really didn't care. Like it was so out there and so weird. I was just like, this. I don't know. So like, I finished it, but like I won't go back to it, and I'm not even sure if I'll read Grant Morrison because I feel like I've heard he's really hit or miss. So I don't know.
He's very hit or miss. There's people that swear that he's the greatest writer in the world. My exposure to him has only been Final Crisis, Batman, and Multiversity. I couldn't finish Multiversity. I got like 3 issues in, and I was like, I can't. My brain is malfunctioning right now. Let's go back to it.
Yeah.
Batman took a couple of when you're like reading and then you realize you're not paying attention, so you have to go back a couple of pages.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling.
No matter how hard I tried to focus, something would happen in the book, and I would have to go back and think, what is going on? And so it took me a while to actually like wrap my head around his run.
Yeah.
And Final Crisis is just, it's really just a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what it's about other than Darkseid taking over the world.
Yeah. I hear like you have to read all his books like a couple times to like really grasp everything, and personally I'm not interested in doing that. Like if you don't get me the first time, you're not gonna get me. I don't know. That's just me.
I get that. I get that too.
What else?
Currently I have this Animal Man.
Oh yeah, you do? That was one of the first omnibuses I was going to pick up, and then I decided not to for some reason, and then as soon as I decided not to, like 3 weeks later, it started to get really hard to find, and I was just like, I guess sometimes you
That's the most annoying thing.
Yeah.
All right. My final book, before we get to the book that we have in common, it was just Volume 9 of the Dragon Ball Z Vizbigs.
Nice.
So now I'm only missing Volume 8. I'm having a hard time trying to find it for a price lower than in-stock trades, but I know that I can. So I'm going to hold out until I can actually get it for less than 25% off.
Yeah. I mean, I've never personally gotten into anime. I think I remember watching Naruto, or however you pronounce that. And
Naruto.
Yeah, when I was a kid and thinking like it was the coolest thing ever just because like everything was happening, but I don't really remember anything from that. And I guess if you count Pokemon, I used to watch that as a kid, but I haven't really gotten into it, and everybody says I need to. So eventually I'll get into something like anime, like maybe One Punch Man I heard is really good and funny and easy to get into, something like that. I don't know.
You have Netflix?
Yeah, I have Netflix. Is it on there?
There's 12 episodes for the first season on Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm currently in the middle of One Punch Man 2. You know, it's very funny. So
yeah, is it kind of drier humor? It kind of seems to be drier.
A little bit of both. Like
yeah.
To give you an example, this is one part where he's in the middle of fighting a giant robot, and the giant robot just happens to mention the fact that it's Saturday, and then he starts to freak out. He's just getting beat up, and he starts to freak out, and all of a sudden he thinks to himself, "I forgot that there was a big sale at the supermarket today." So the episode ends with him just like slapping the robot and running out to try to get to the supermarket on time. So if you consider that dry humor, that's the kind of humor One Punch Man kind of carries.
I mean, kind of imagining it, that does sound pretty funny. I'll give it a shot. Like, I'm not against not giving things shots. Like, that's one of my favorite things is when you're curious about something enough to give it a shot and then it pays off. So I'll go watch it.
Agreed. You should, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. Another review.
All right. And last but not least, what'd you get, Ben?
Stephen King's The Dark Tower slipcase, which is probably the heaviest thing I've ever carried.
This thing is massive. Like, it hurts to carry with one hand.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, no. Yeah. So you got yours for how much?
$20, 19 and change.
I got $13.27. I was one of the last people to grab it because I was like, it'll go down. It'll go down. And mine did not have that much damage. I was surprised. I thought it'd have more. I mean, there's a couple, like, I don't know if you can see that, like, corner dents right there. Couple,
that's what mine looks like.
Yeah, but, you know. And, yeah, we were talking about this the other day. This artwork is outstanding. I love the Century from Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee. And I would sometimes just flip through that book to look at the art just because of how, maybe not amazing for me when I was a kid, but just how interesting it was. It was way different.
That,
like, seriously, look at that. That's crazy.
Yep, that double page spread is real nice.
And I've never read anything Stephen King. And the Dark Tower movie came out, and I didn't see it. And it looked interesting to me, like the trailers. I don't know if it's close to the book, but I'm excited to jump into it. It's going to be a completely blind read. I have no idea what it's about.
I am too. And I'm totally fine with an omnibus or a slipcase with 2 omnibus, and they're a decent size for $20.
Yeah, and I mean, why do you think Marvel hasn't released more omnibus slipcases? I mean, this looks awesome. Like, what happened to the guy who designed these books? Like, get him back. This is outstanding.
Look at that, dude.
Like
the hues on that, pink turning orange.
I mean, seriously, and just like I love the brown Marvel omnibus logo, and just like how the whole spine looks. Like, holy crap! I mean, the slipcase is a little bland. I was a little disappointed by that. I mean, the cover looks pretty awesome, but then the spine's literally not too much. But like, it's a slipcase, which is awesome, and then the books are beautifully designed. I mean,
they are.
They need to make more like this for sure.
Dude, like embossed gold.
Yeah, and like I thought it was just red leather at first, but it's like textured red leather. Like, that's awesome. Yeah. Like, I'm so excited to jump into this, man.
They just don't make books like this anymore, and I'm surprised it didn't sell well enough.
I mean, even if it's not on, it's Stephen King, but even if you don't buy it because of that, like, I'm surprised the word didn't get out that these are like seriously beautiful books. Like, if I would have known these were that beautiful, I would have picked these up a while ago just to see them on my shelf. And I didn't know Jay Lee drew it either. If I would have known that, I would have picked it up way sooner as well.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with Jay Lee, but if this is any representation of the work he does, I want more Jay Lee.
I mean,
honestly, like, they should bring in omnibus slipcases. Like, why doesn't anybody ever do that? Like, can you imagine, like, when we finally get the Annihilation reprint? We get Annihilation and Conquest and a nice...
And it's just, like, wrapped around just, like, an entire galaxy with stars and stuff.
Yeah.
That was so sick. Like, there's so much...
You can have, like, Ultron on one side, Annihilus on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, that's the cool thing about having a slipcase, because you can have a certain dust jacket design, and then you can have a completely different slipcase design, and then you can have a completely different under the dust jacket design. So there's just, like, so many different ways you can display your book. Like, that's what I love about it. Just, like, one day maybe I don't feel like I want to display the covers of the Stephen King book, flip it around to the slipcase, it looks different. Like, that's super interesting to me. I would love to do, like, more like that.
I love when there's... The more art you can give me on this big book that I paid almost $100 for, the more art you give me, the happier I'll be. Like,
exactly, yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed when I take the dust jacket off. It's like
there's nothing.
Matte black or just plain black or DC's old black cover boards.
Those were literally the most disappointing. I got Teen Titans by Jeff Johns, which was my first DC omnibus, and I was so excited to see what was underneath it because that's one of my favorite parts. And I unwrap it, and it's just black, and I just kind of sat there. I was like, well, that's lame. Like, they didn't even emboss color or anything.
Man.
Yeah,
you're not even trying.
I agree,
like,
totally.
You have a book like Giant Size X-Men. Look how nice that cover is.
For sure.
And then as soon as you take the slip, it's just...
And, I mean, I don't hate that design. I like the white, and I like how much that X-Men logo pops, but, like, I would like something more. I agree. There needs to be more than that.
The books are expensive, man. So, like I said, the more art you give me, the happier I'll be.
Absolutely.
All right.
Anything else you got? Oh, wow. Right on the same page. Anything else you got or anything else you experienced this month that you want to talk about?
I've watched a couple animes. You know, definitely recommend you guys to go out and watch My Hero Academia. Season 3 just started, and it's just a really great series, very full of heart. Very funny.
Hmm.
I've been watching One Punch Man. It's very funny too. So you have to get on that too, Ben. I'm holding you to that.
Absolutely.
And I just picked up a couple of floppies at the store I work at. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, how about you, Ben?
I mean, nothing too much. I mean, Infinity War, I've never probably ever been more excited for a movie, and they keep releasing TV spots, and I need to stop watching them. I don't want this spoiled for me, but I have never been more excited for a movie. So, like, this is going to be great. And I'm reading, like I said, Avengers by Jonathan Hickman. I definitely recommend picking up anything Hickman. Like, he's blowing me away the more I read from him. I think that's it.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right, you want to wrap this up?
Yeah. The bloody outro. Okay, I got this. Just kidding. Thanks for talking with us, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to comment. Tell us, how we did. We love creative criticism. We've been getting some, and that's awesome. We love talking to you guys. Make sure you go to our Instagram and follow us. We'll be posting awesome pictures of things we get in the mail, just awesome pictures of things happening in our life. It's a really fun Instagram. That's This Might Sound Nerdy on Instagram. And we'll see you next week.
It's been nerdy, guys.
Bye.